You ever watch someone burn down an entire courtroom with nothing but silence? Because that's exactly what happened the day Omomira Collins walked in, hoodie drowning her frame, cuffs on her wrist, 17 years old and stone silent. Judge Monroe looked at her like she was just another multi kid from the wrong side of town, already halfway to prison in her mind. The guards were ready. The gallery barely looked up. But me. I felt something shift the second she walked through those double doors. Something. Off. Like the room knew it was about to get real. See, the thing that got everyone. She didn't fight. Didn't cry. Didn't shout. Just stood there calm, unreadable. No parents. No lawyer trying to save face. Just her and a stillness that made everyone else feel loud. Judge Monroe didn't even look up at first. She didn't need to. She already knew the type. Her courtroom was a machine especially for girls like Omomira. Charges were obstruction and interference with police procedure, but really, it was just Tuesday. Monroe snapped, "Do you understand the charges?" No answer. Public defender coughed and said, "My client chooses not to respond at this time." And just like that, the judge's whole vibe shifted. "So we're playing games," she said, raising an eyebrow. The bailiff laughed. One of the deputies leaned over and said, "Bet she thinks she's Rosa Parks or something." Nobody expected what came next, because nothing came next. Omomira just stood there. Still. Like she had all the time in the world. Across the room, a young officer named Keller, new guy, started shifting in his seat. I saw it, couldn't put his finger on it, but something about her didn't sit right. Not in a criminal way. In a trained way. Calculated. Controlled. Then there was Lily, fresh out of school journalist, sitting up front with a pen too fast for her own good. She caught it too. That look in Omomira's eyes, it wasn't defiance, it was precision. Like she was watching all of us, taking mental notes, waiting for the dominoes to fall. Judge Monroe leaned forward. "This is not your hallway at school. This is my courtroom," she barked. Still nothing. The silence was loud. Like echoing loud. "Fine," the judge snapped. "Remand her to juvenile for the night. Maybe that'll remind her how to behave." But the second that order dropped, Omomira tilted her head, just a fraction. Not scared. Not cocky. Just deliberate. You could feel the shift in the air like pressure in your ears before a storm hits. The guard's hand froze mid-reach. And then boom. The courtroom door creaked open. Now, this wasn't the front door where the public walks in. It was the side one. Restricted access. And in walked a man, black suit, glasses, calm as hell. Didn't say a word. Just pulled out a badge. CI. Go trim. Real deal. Monroe's gavel hung midair. "Who the hell are you?" she asked. He answered without blinking, "Gabriel Collins. Division Chief." And then he nodded toward Omomira. "She's under federal protection. You touch her again, we have a problem." Silence. Total. You could hear someone's pen drop. Turns out, this wasn't about guilt or innocence. It was a setup. Every sneer, every insult, every unlawful move in that courtroom, it was all recorded. Not just by court cameras, but by them. Gabriel slid a folder onto the judge's bench, weeks of surveillance footage. Inside her chambers. In the hallways. Every second of it. "Your Honor," he said, voice steady, "you didn't just target the wrong girl. You revealed yourself in the process." Omomira still hadn't said a word. Then she stood slow, calm, hands still uncuffed. She looked Monroe dead in the eye and said, some names protect. Mine wants them to listen. And that was it. That was her statement. Nothing loud, nothing dramatic. Just truth, dropped like a brick in the middle of the room. You ever see power crumble in real time? Becca didn't even try to fight. 2 federal agents flanked her, suspension papers in hand. The live stream had hit over 1 million views. People in the back row were crying, some angry, some ashamed. An old man stood and said, "I raised my kids to trust this court." And from the other side, a grandmother whispered, "My grandson's doing 10 years because of her." And Omomira. She didn't flinch. She didn't celebrate. She just adjusted her sleeves and walked down those courthouse steps like she'd been doing it all her life. A little girl tugged her mom's coat and asked, "Is she a lawyer?" And her mom, God bless her, just smiled and said, "No, baby. She's justice." Later that night, the story went viral. People argued whether it was staged, whether silence could ever be stronger than speech. Some called her hero, others called it theater. But me, I was there. I felt the air change. So, here's what I'll ask you now: when the system is so sure you'll scream, so ready to twist your words against you, what happens when you say nothing at all? Go ahead. Share your thoughts. Who was right? Who was wrong? And in a world this loud, does silence speak louder than truth? Because that day it sure as hell did.